Well, hello everyone. I'm glad to hear that you're here today. I'm super excited for our presentation that I'll be working on today, and that is a demonstration of how to get control of your business and your life using Trello. Now, I'm Renee Charbonneau, and I welcome you to our web class. And I'm excited to spend the next 30 to 40 minutes together going over what I love about Trello and how I use it in my life and business to really stay on top of things. But before we get started, I want to just mention one thing. Down at the bottom of your watch page, there is a comment section. And if you have questions or comments throughout the demonstration, you can go ahead and add them there. You'll just need to make sure that you're logged into Facebook. Now, they don't actually show up on Facebook. Those comments just stay on this page. But at the end of the class, I'll take a few minutes and see if there's any questions that I can answer for you. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to just jump in, and I want to tell you a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Renee Charbonneau, and I am a digital marketer. I've worked online for almost 10 years, and I consider myself kind of a jack of all trades. I started out as a VA, and then I kind of moved into a project manager, online business manager, and lately I've been moving and really enjoying being a marketing strategist. So in my personal life, you can see a picture of my family here. I am a wife to my husband, Dave, and we have 5 kids. They are ages 2 to 14. So it's pretty busy at our house, especially because we've been homeschooling for the last 4 years. So between my life as a mom and with my family and my life as a business owner, there is a lot to keep track of, and there are lots of moving parts. So that is actually what brings me here today to share with you how I kind of keep it all under control and in check and on track. So I want to just talk about real fast what we're going to cover today. So first of all, I want to talk about why choose Trello. With all the different products out on the market, why Trello is a good option for you. I want to talk about the basic structure of the Trello platform. It's designed a little bit differently than many of the project management platforms out there, so we'll touch on that. I also want to talk about using Trello as your second brain. Now, that might sound kind of weird, but I'll explain what I mean by that and why it's important. I'm also going to talk about how to manage your email inbox using Trello. A lot of business owners that I work with, that's a really big struggle that they have is getting drowned in their email and just feeling overwhelmed in that area. So I was really happy to find a way that I could use Trello to help me stay on top of my inbox. And how to set up your boards. And boards is a terminology within the Trello platform, so I'll explain that to you in a little bit. But how to set up your boards to stay on top of your priorities so that you always know that next thing that you need to be working on, and that doesn't get lost in just kind of the chaos of everything. And then finally, why and how to set up workflows. I'll explain a little bit more about what a workflow is and why it's important and how to use Trello to be effective in setting those up and managing them. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. So why Trello? So clearly I love Trello, or I wouldn't be talking about it today. Like I said, there's lots of other great systems out there, and I actually do use other systems in certain situations. But Trello, I found, gives me all of those elements that I need to lay out my life in a way that it makes it easy for me to keep myself and my clients on track. It's very visual. It has a drag and drop feature, and I don't know, that sounds pretty cool to like drag and drop your life into organization. So that's worked for me really well. But a couple of things that I love about it is that it's super versatile and it's highly customizable. So today I'm going to show you how I use it. If you took somebody else's course or watched another demo, they might use it completely differently. And I think that's awesome. Because if you decide to use it, you can take what you've learned today and you can say, okay, that works for me, but I need it to do this. And it's likely that there's that opportunity to kind of tweak and adjust it to the way that you process information and need to kind of manage your life. And the best part is there's no right way to use it. So you can play with it and experiment and find what works for you. Another thing that I love about it is it's really simple, really, but it's also highly functional. As simple as keeping a shopping list, all the way to managing, large multi-member corporate projects. Trello can handle it. And today we're going to kind of stick with just the basic structure. And I'll show you some hacks that I use to make the most of the system. But there are tons of other features that we won't have time to touch on today. And you can search those out through the Trello blog and ask. I'm sure if you asked in Facebook groups and stuff that you would get lots of really cool other ways that people use it in a more high level fashion. Another thing that I love about it is that it's dynamic. So my life, the way it is right now, my priorities are constantly changing. And I needed a system that could kind of be flexible with me in that way, and that I could change it on the fly and say, you know what, no, that's not my priority today. And I could just, like I said, with a quick drag and drop, I can shift it around really easily. I found with some of the systems, I felt like I was taking more time actually managing the system than I was doing the work that I needed to do. And I found in Trello just a really easy interface and way that I could change things on the fly. And then another thing that I love about it is that it's flexible in the way that I get to view my life. So it has like this bird's eye perspective where I can, in one view, see everything that's on my plate. But then if I need to really easily zero in on one specific priority, it makes it really easy to do that too, and to kind of flip back and forth between those two views. So that was really helpful for me in getting started. But now I want to just go ahead and jump into Trello so I can show you how the platform is structured. So give me just a sec to jump over there. Okay. So when you first log into Trello, and like I said, it's a free tool. Free! Who doesn't love that? It actually kind of blows me away that it's free, but I'm grateful that it is. So once you first log in, you're going to be on your dashboard, and it's going to show you what are called boards. So each of these little rectangles represents a board. And these are my personal boards. That means they're not shared with anybody, but if you have a team that you're working with, you can also create boards that are shared boards that other team members have access to. Again, I'm not really going to focus on the team aspect of it much today, but you'll kind of get the gist of how it works just as you see the structure demonstrated. So each of these is a board, and think of those as like your big main categories, the big categories of your life. And like I said, there's so many different ways to set this up. But for me, the way that I do it, like I said earlier, I love being able to have a bird's eye view of everything that I have going on in my life. So I actually have one main board that has just kind of all of my life in it. Then, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, I have some other types of boards here that serve different functions. And you'll see how that works as we move along. So we're just going to spend most of our time here in the main board. So once you click in that, within each board, you will have lists, and you can set up as many lists as you want. I forgot to mention, you can actually set up as many boards as you'd like as well. But within each board, you can then so again, the board is the big kind of category. And then within each of those boards, you can set up lists and think of those as more like subcategories. So for me, again, this is representing my whole life. I have a family list, and then each of my clients has their own list where I'm going to write down all of the different tasks that I need to do for them, and things like that. You can add, if you have church functions or different business projects, you could add those all within this same board, or you could set up each of those could have their own board. Wait, I think I said that wrong. They could each have their own list within a main board, or they could have their own separate board where they would then have their own list, and you can break things down like that. I think once you get into Trello and you start kind of playing with things, it'll be really clear how it's going to work best for you. Again, this is my main board. I have family, Stacy client, Stephen client, Mary client. And so then within each list, you have what are called cards. So each of these little rectangles is called a card. And those cards represent, again, kind of another sub-layer, sub-level of the family subcategory list. So here, I actually use this. This I use as a to-do list, as well as you can click into each one of these cards, and you can also set up checklists within each card. So there's lots of different ways that you can set up kind of subtasks and stuff, but again, I'll demonstrate a little bit more how that works out. So within this subcard, or within this card, okay, we got to go on a family vacation, right? So it has, I can set a due date, and once you set a due date and attach a due date to a card, it will pull into a calendar, and I'll show you how to get to the calendar and what that looks like in a minute. But as long as it has a due date attached, it will pull into the calendar. And then it has a description, and this is usually where I write just extensive notes. Anything that comes to mind, okay, I had this thought about family vacation. Oh, maybe we should go to, while we're in Washington, you know, maybe we should go crabbing. So I'd add that there. If we go to Oregon, let's go to Cannon Beach. We go to Florida, let's go, you know, maybe we're going to talk about Disney World. So I just start making notes here. Anything that is relevant to this, you know, the idea of planning a summer vacation. Then this is really cool too. You can upload attachments. So this is actually just a screenshot. You know, if I'm researching flights, then here's a screenshot of these different flights that I found that might be good options. Another thing that I find really handy here is to take pictures, take a picture with my phone if I have taken notes like on a piece of paper, or, you know, somebody wants to give me a business card. I'll just take a quick picture with my phone, and then I can upload it through the Trello app right here into my card. And it's super cool because it keeps it all kind of compartmentalized and contained into one spot. So, and then, like I said, you can add as many checklists as you want underneath it. So these are, you know, these are sub lists within the plan your summer vacation. So, okay, I needed to decide the dates. The one drawback about this checklist is that you cannot assign a due date for it. It's the due date for the entire card. So that does make it a little bit tricky. But a couple things that I want to note about the checklist is that I actually add links right to it. You know, here, research plane tickets. Okay, this is where I want to research them. So if I click on kayak.com, it'll take me right there, or Delta or whatever. So I really use Trello to just keep everything together. I hate trying to go and find something in an email and find something in here and find something there. And so I always add links whenever I can, screenshots, something to kind of jog my memory as far as what I've done to move this project, this task, this card forward. And I found that saved me so much time and so much frustration. So again, once you do that, let's say, you know, we did the research the plane ticket, I can cross that off. You could hide that if you just really want to not see it anymore. You can hide it. You can bring it back if you're the type that wants to see everything that you've checked off and all the progress that you've made. You can do that as well. You can make comments on it as well. For me, when I'm managing it myself, I don't usually use comments because they're kind of down on the bottom of the card. But you can add attachments to the comments. You can actually comment on these attachments as well. And that's what I've done down here. See, it's a little bit tricky because it doesn't, it's just down really far. But I made a note, you know, so if I click on that attachment, it will take me to that screenshot that I showed you earlier. And it attached that note that said, you know, okay, this pricing expires on June 27th. So lots of different functionality within the comments. If you do have a team and you've added a member to your card, you can tag them in the comment so that they will get notified of that. You can attach a different card to this comment. So if you're hopefully starting to see, like, it's super dynamic. There's all these different things that you can do with it, but you can also keep it really, really simple. Emojis, if you want to add that. So that's the main functionality of the card. You can add, as I mentioned, you can add team members here. You can add labels. Labels just kind of help you to sort things. If you're, I believe you can do a search across your whole board for different cards that have a particular label. Here's how you add a checklist. Here's how you add a due date and attachment. This move function is something that I'm going to demonstrate later that is really, really powerful, as is the copy function, being able to copy this particular card and then watch. That means that you're going to get notifications when there are changes that happen. Another cool thing is that you have the opportunity to archive. So if you are big into kind of the digital paper trail, you don't have to delete everything to make it go away. You can just archive it. And then if you need to either bring back this card for something else or go back and say, okay, now what happened, or what did I research on that? If you know, the archive feature is really good for keeping your Trello account uncluttered, but still being able to access what you've done in the past. So yeah, it's super cool. And so that's how the individual cards work. So then I wanted to mention the calendar. So the calendar is one of those power up features. It's not, you do have to add it onto your account, actually onto your board. Each individual board would have to have that added on. And all you do for that is you come over here and click show menu. And there's lots of different options of things that you can do. Change the background colors, filter. If you're looking for something specific, you can filter the card that way. And then here's the power ups. So power ups are these extra plugins, add-ons that I was talking about earlier. And there are so many. Like, it's crazy how many there are. But you would just come here and, you know, type in calendar, and it would show you the calendar view. And then I've already added it, so that's why it's got the setting. But once you open up the settings, there's a place where you can actually subscribe to, so that the calendar pulls in to, I think it's an iCal subscription. So you can have it all syncing up, you know, with your own calendar on your computer and on your devices. So that's super cool. You can integrate it with Google Drive, so that it'll pull in your Google Drive documents, and you can attach those without having to go outside of Trello to get to them. Box, Dropbox, there's just lots of different functionalities. But like I said, there's a lot of advanced features that we're not going to talk about today. But that's where you would find those. And so once you get a Trello account, you might want to come over here into the power ups and just see, like, all the different options that there are. Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything there. Okay, so that's the general. Oh, actually, I did want to show you one more thing. So when you're in a card, and I showed you that there was the checklist. One really cool thing too is if you say, okay, this needs to be higher in my priority. I usually see these checklists, the checklist within the cards is kind of like, they're a little bit buried. They're not as easy to see. But one thing you can do if you want to bring that to the forefront is you can, when you hover over it, you can click the little triple dots and then click convert to card. That will remove it from the checklist, and it will pull it into your main list over here. So here you can see decide dates. So then you can open that up, and now you have all of that functionality open up to you for that specific thing that you need to do. And so that's super cool too. And that'll come in really handy with one of the other things that I want to show you later. Okay, so that's the general structure of how Trello works. So the next thing I want to talk about is how I use Trello as what I call my second brain. So what I've found is, and I know a lot of other people, especially business owners, do it, is, you know, we're going throughout our day and we're thinking about all this stuff, and we have all these ideas and we have all of these things that we want to do. And we spend so much time and energy trying to keep it all together in our heads that, I mean, there's been times before where it's literally like taken me out for a couple of days when there's been stuff that I haven't, that I've just been trying, that I've been going over and over and over in my brain, and my thought is, okay, I got to remember that. Oh, I got to remember that. I have to remember to do this. I have to remember to do that. And so I actually use Trello as an extension of my brain. When I have those thoughts come up of, okay, I want to try this, or I want to think about this, or I want to research this, I actually set up another Trello board. So we'll go back to our dashboard, and I just call it ideas, or you can call it whatever you want, but it's just kind of this brain dump area. So within this ideas board, you know, I just go through that same process where I set up all of these different lists that are subcategories of these ideas that I'm having. So let's say, for example, that I wanted to publish a book, and I'm at soccer practice, watching my kids play soccer. I'm like, oh my gosh, I bet I have some time right now to, you know, research some publishing resources. So I start doing a Google search, and I start coming up with all these different resources. So I just open up Trello on my phone. There's a fantastic Trello app that makes this all just so streamlined, so easy. I just pull up the Trello app, do my search, and then I just start taking notes. And you can do the same thing. Add an attachment if you find a screenshot that you want to keep. Here's an article that was really awesome, and it just makes it clickable right over to that. So that when even though the book publishing isn't on your top priority list, it's not in your main board right now, it's still something that you want to address in the future. And so this is kind of like just a brain dump kind of place, but it has the functionality to keep all of those ideas together. So for example, you know, here, okay, within the book publishing, I got to hire a graphic designer. So if I'm networking on Facebook and I come across a graphic designer, I'll actually open that up, and I will add their name and a link to the post on Facebook where I, you know, maybe had a little bit of a conversation about what they offer, and a link to their website so I can go check it out later. But this way, like, I'm not sifting through email. I'm not sifting through Facebook conversations. I have it all here. And when I'm ready to make that a priority, then it's really awesome. And all I have to do here. So let's say, okay, I'm at the end of June, I want to add book publishing. I'm ready to move on to the book publishing concept. So what I can do here is I can move this list. And it will ask me, okay, well, what board do you want to move it to? Well, I'm ready to take this on. So I'm going to put it on my main board. And the position is which, you know, is it the first list, second list, third list, fourth list? So I'm just going to say I just want to add it at the end. And you move it over, and it's gone. And now we can come over to the main board, and we can see it drop in right there. So now I know that book publishing is part of my life and my priorities. But Trello is it's just so important, whether it's Trello or some other system. Like, you have to find a way to get those ideas out of your head, so that you can confidently move forward, knowing that you can come back to it later. And it's amazing. And the Trello app for devices makes it just awesome. Because it all syncs up, and you have everything you need to know whenever you need to know it. So that's how I use it as my second brain. Like, literally, when I think, oh, what was that thing that I was talking about last week? I can come to Trello, and I have it organized so I can, based on categories through the boards and the list, that I can go right to it and say, okay, oh yeah, that's what I decided, or oh yeah, that was the person that I talked to, and you have that all at your fingertips. So the second brain is just awesome. But another part of the second brain idea is that you want to make it as easy as possible to access the information when you need it. And I've actually found a way to integrate my email so that it's part of my Trello second brain as well. So, I mean, everybody knows that email can be just a black hole. You know, so hard to find things, so hard to just go back through and try to find something that you did 6 months ago. But once I started using Trello to manage my email, that problem was gone. And so I'm going to show you just this little trick that I use to keep on top of my inbox. And I'm going to actually show you my inbox so that you know that I practice what I preach. Here is my inbox, okay? 2 emails. And that's just because these are things that I want to deal with like today. So the cool thing is that there is an add-on to Gmail that's called Gmail to Trello. Oh, I meant to pull that up. So if you just do a Google search, Gmail to Trello. Skip over this first one, like it works okay, but I found that it was just a little bit different. This is the one that that I prefer, and it's just this add-on for Gmail, and you click on that, and it will give you instructions how to add it onto your Gmail account. But I'll show you how it works. So let's say that, okay, I want to add this Kohl's reward thing. I need to go shopping at Kohl's, right? I need to add that to my list of things to do. So all I do, I open up the email, and once I've installed the add-on, oops, I didn't X this one out. Well, okay, it's relevant anyway. So once you add that add-on, the little Trello icon is going to show up over here. And so you click that, well, it'll look like that. So you click it, and when you click it, then this little thing is going to pop up. And it will tell you that it's going to add the card. You get to choose. This is attached to a different Trello account. You get to choose which board you want to add it to. You get to choose which list you want to add it to. And then you can name your card. So you can say, shop at Kohl's. What it will do here is it will populate the content from this email into that card. So this one's a little bit tricky because it's got all those really big links. But anyway, it'll put the text from the email there. And then I think, let's see. Oh yeah, you can add a due date from right here in the email, and then you just click add over to Trello. So I love that, but I found that it was missing one piece. I like to link back to my actual email within my Gmail account, so that if I need to, and I actually don't love having all of the email copied there. I find that it makes the card kind of cluttered. So instead, what I like to do is I just copy the URL. I use Gmail, so if you have a web-based email account, you can do the same thing. I just copy the URL right into the top of the description. You can either leave the text below it, or, and yeah, oh, it's so long, sorry. Or you can just remove it. So once you remove it and then you add it, again, this is in a different Gmail or a different Trello account, so it's not going to show up there. But once you do go back over to your Trello account, then it will show up, that card will show up in the list that you designated with the due date if you added it, and it will have a link to your email. So whenever I get an email from a client that says, hey, you know what, you need to do XYZ, or I need you to take care of this, that's what I do. I either use the little Trello extension, or I just come over here into my main board. I copy and paste my link, and then I'll just set up a new, let's see, subscribe to Google One. And then I will just, in the description, I'll just add that link and save it with it, and then add my due date. And I am off and running. And I don't, then I just come over here and I'm going to archive it out of my inbox. So that's how I keep my inbox clean, but I also am able to easily reference whatever email I need that's associated with a particular task. And you can add, you know, let's say you had 3 different emails that gave different information about that task. You just add those in. So I'm going to open that up, maybe add a little tag, how to, and then you can add a different one that says description of project, you know, if that was the topic of the email, and then add that email link, and just keep adding those in there so that when you're ready to go ahead and go do this, You can just click through those, open them up, and you have all the information that you need right there. And then archive them out of your email, and your inbox is clean, and you know that you're moving forward without forgetting anything because it's in your second brain of Trello. Yes. Okay. Oh, I did want to, I keep thinking of these other little things that I want to show you. So another cool thing, again, just kind of helping to organize and prioritize. Maybe that's in the next section. Yeah, that's in the next section, but we're ready to move on anyway. So we've talked about the second brain. We've talked about keeping your email inbox clean. And then the next part I want to talk about is how I organize all of the information so that it doesn't get out of control, and so that I always know, always at a glance, what my priorities are. Because that's another problem too, right? When we've got all this stuff, we've written it all out, we know all of these different things that we need to do, but it can be really hard once you get these big boards that have and lists that have all of this stuff. Okay, great. Now what? I don't know where to start. So this is just a simple little strategy that I came up with myself to help me stay on top of that. And all that looks like is I add on my main board. Again, this is my life board. I just add another list and I call it card. Now, look how sweet this is. I'm just going to drag and drop this guy over here. Okay. So here's my priority list. Now, so my priority list, I'm so protective of this list right here because this is where I'm going to run my day. Run my day out of this priority list so that I don't have to deal with all of this other stuff that's happening that isn't my priority. So let's say that I told Stacy that, well, we can see here, this has a June 22nd due date. That's tomorrow. That's a top priority. So all I'm going to do, this is if I knew that today my priority was to develop a social media strategy for Stacy, I'm just going to pull that over into my priorities. So this is my day that I'm running right here. And let's say the other thing that I needed to do, and I'm kind of looking for these due dates that I think it's the day before they show up yellow and the day of they show up red. So that makes it really easy to say, okay, well, I got to make sure to do that today. So I need to email the school counselor. I need to do that too. And let's see, I also need to do this. I need to install Google Analytics for Steven. I told him I would do that. And whatever, this doesn't have a due date. I'm going to hurry and put a due date on this. So let's say this was due next week, but I still needed to do it. It was still a priority. So, okay, that's all set. This daily priority list, I try really, really, really hard to not let that get above 3 cards, okay? Because when we just start loading up that list, then it feels like we're never going to get it done. But the beauty of it is, well, let me show you this too. Let's say that this was actually organized like this. And I wanted to organize by due date. You can actually go click the little 3 dots and you can click sort by and then due date. And it will arrange it for you if you need that type of view as well. Or you can click over on the calendar and it will show you, okay, so here's the cards that are due tomorrow. That's not as easy for the priorities. For me, I prefer to go, let's see, how do I go back there? But I really find that this priority list really helps me. Now, here's the great thing. Let's say, okay, so I opened that up and I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. So I finished my card and I'm all done with it and I'm going to archive it, okay? And it does give you the opportunity to delete if you just, want to be done with it. But otherwise, it will just stay in your archives. So like I said before, you can reference it later. But now look, now I only have 2 things here. So if I feel like I'm cruising along and I'm getting stuff done and I want to add another thing on here, I just drag that over here. And then I finally do email the school counselor. I get that done. So now I'm going to archive that card. And now I have 2 things left over here. So now I'm going to research graphic designers. So the idea is that because as you go along, you're likely going to add more cards to all of these areas over here, all of those lists. You're going to constantly be adding cards. So the idea is as the priorities come up, you drag them over into your priority list. As you finish those priorities, you get those out of the way, you archive them, and now you're looking for what's next. So, you know, if you have this block of an hour, you don't have to sit there spending 45 minutes of it looking through all of your tasks. Well, what do I do? What do I do? Because you can just pick up where you left off and you have your priority list and you're like, okay, yeah, right. And you start there and you start right away and you get it done and you get it off your priority plate, and now you're looking for the next thing. And so you're just able to really churn through these priorities without having to stop and you know, consider everything in your life. And you're also really aware, because you're frequently looking at these lists, you're really aware of what's there. And so it's a lot easier to try to, because it's top of mind, it's a lot easier to process those priorities. What is a true priority, rather than, okay, 2 weeks ago I figured out my to-do list, and now I don't know, I think I checked off some stuff, but I don't know. Like, you're just constantly in that mode of moving to a priority, doing the work, checking it off, bringing in the next priority, doing the work, checking it off. And I found that it's just a really powerful system, an easy system to just always know what you have to do and always be able to add those new tasks to it without letting them overwhelm you and consume you, because now they're living in your second brain. So I hope that makes sense. And I really love it, and it's helped me so much to just really be productive and effective in the work that I do, and in the way that I show up for my family, even because I put in my family priorities too. It's not very easy to separate our family life and our work life. So to be able to run it this way, for me, I feel like it makes it a lot easier to see how those two kind of work together and how I can add in those priorities together. One thing I do want to note about that is that because life does change, I would encourage you maybe once a week to go back and just kind of look through all of your cards and purge those that don't apply. You know, if you started working for a client and then you've wrapped up that project, or it didn't work out, or something, get rid of it. Don't carry along extra baggage. This is your brain, right? So we're working to keep it very streamlined, very clear. So make sure you're purging anything that's not relevant, probably once a week, so that you always know that whatever is here is meaningful and relevant to you. Okay, so that's my little priority hack. The last thing that I want to talk about today is workflows. Now, what is a workflow? It's kind of funny. I've worked online in this industry for 10 years almost, and it was maybe last month that I finally I'd heard the term workflow, but it was last month that I finally looked it up to figure out what it was. And the even more funny thing about it was that I use workflows all the time, like all the time. But I just never knew that's what they were called. So all a workflow is a map of a process. So a checklist, something as simple as a checklist could be considered a workflow. It's taking you from the beginning of a project or the beginning of something through and to the end of that thing. And Trello is a great resource for setting up workflows. The thing that you want to do is just when you're going through your life and your business, you want to look for processes that repeat, that you're not just going to do one time, but that you're going to do over and over and over again. So an example is one of the services that I offer my clients is a Facebook account optimization. So it's the same process as new clients come on and they're like, hey, I want you to do this. So I don't want to have to recreate the wheel and try to figure it out every time. So I just set up a workflow board here in Trello so that once a new client says they want me to do it, I copy that board, and I'll show you right here. So I did set one up. Oops, go to boards. So WF stands for workflow, Facebook optimization. So once I open it up, here is my process. And I just go down this list, down this list, down this list, and I go through each of those steps and I cross them off. I'm gonna copy this Trello board, for the new client so that I keep one as a template, but I copy this as a new board that keeps all of this information, and I just go through this process and I'm checking off and archiving and getting rid of, so that it's the same thing. I always know if I don't finish it up and I need to come back to it, I know exactly where I left off and what I need to do. And so it really streamlines the process of just the work that you do every day, and helps things to stay on track. And it's awesome, and it's super helpful. And Trello makes it really, really easy to do that. So I just want to tell you a quick story about a person that I worked with on the idea of workflows. So my daughter's dance teacher, she was pretty frazzled. And one day I was talking to her, and we just had this conversation about, kind of where she was at in her business. She runs a really successful dance studio, and she's got kids that are teenagers, and they're going to be going off to school soon, college soon. And I was just like, I just asked her, what is your vision? What is your vision for your business and your studio? I know your kids are getting older and stuff. And she just kind of hesitated, and she's like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I think that I'm locked into this forever. That's their family's primary source of income. So she's kind of in it. And she's like, I don't know what to do about it, but I can't. I just started asking some questions, well, do you have anything outsourced? Do you have a team that helps you? And she starts, she told me she had a couple of instructors, but she couldn't completely leave it because of some standards of the accreditation that she has with the dance. Anyway, that's whatever. Anyway, she couldn't see a way out. She couldn't see a way out of removing herself from her business. And I actually said, I have something that you need to see. And I opened up Trello, and I started asking her, okay, so tell me what you do. What are the things in your business that really take the most of your time? And so I started making boards, and I started making lists, and I started setting up this whole process for her. And we came to find out that really her business runs on like a year cycle. So she does the same, she runs like a dance competition in February that she starts preparing for in December. And then she does a recital in March that she starts preparing for in February. And she has to set up her class list for the fall classes starting in July. And so we just started breaking it apart and setting up workflows for her, so that, because she didn't even have a chat, literally all in her brain, all of it, all of those details for running this super successful. I don't even know how she does. I don't know how she does it. But we started breaking that apart, and we set up a workflow for her dance competition, her January dance competition, February dance competition. We set up a workflow for her March recital. We set up a workflow of what she needs to do to get her fall classes in order. And what was really interesting is after, 45 minutes, she looked at me and she said, I see a way out. I'm like, what? What do you mean? She said, I see how I can still have my business, but I don't have to be my business. And so we started talking about how she could, hand off each of those workflows to somebody else, and she could bring in the help that she needed so that she could actually spend time with her kids, still have that income source, and it's still her business, but she could get the help that she needed, and that she could actually retire. I mean, I seriously was like, wow, it opened my eyes and blew me away to the possibilities of just what organizations and systems can do for a business, and for a person, a wife, a mother, a dance teacher who loves all these people around her, but is so frazzled because she's just so into her own head. So I just wanted to share that with you as an example of the power that just a few of these concepts with Trello and organization and systems, how much of an impact that can have on her business, but also on your business and my family. And so I love that. I love working with Trello. I love the stuff that I've talked about today. And I hope that that you can kind of catch a vision of what Trello can do and how it can help you in your business. And I'm guessing that some of you are pretty excited and ready to, go jump in on your own Trello account and start using it like the way that I showed you today. But what I want to do now is explain a little bit about how I do this for my clients in case you're looking for some more support in this area. So I actually have some openings in my schedule to work with a few people, and I've put together an amazing package for those who maybe don't have the time or kind of the bandwidth to set this up for yourself. So here I wanted to show you this real fast. Get back to the right view. Oops, sorry guys. All right. So I put together a customized Trello workflow package. And what that means is that I have a package of 5 workflow templates. So they're plug and play. I share them with you to your Trello account, and you open them up and they're ready to go. They're ready to be customized into your particular business. And the 5 topics that those cover is lead generation. So if you need to offer a freebie or some sort of free opt-in to your list, there's a workflow for that. If you have a paid product launch, that includes, a service. If you have a course or a coaching package or something that you're wanting to promote and launch, there's a workflow for that. A webinar workflow that shows you all the steps and pieces that you need to have in place to be able to run a webinar. There's also a client tracking workflow. A lot of my customers are coaches, and so they need to be able to have a system to kind of keep track of leads that they have and where they are in their processes. So have they had a phone call with them and they need a place to be able to take notes and set up just kind of a client profile, and Trello is a great place for that. And the last one, it feels a little out of place, but it's really not. So, and this is actually my very, very, very most favorite workflow that I've ever set up. I have set up this really cool template of how you can plan your meals on Trello, including your shopping list, including keeping all of your recipes together. And it just, for me, it took, when I would sit down to try to meal plan for 2 weeks, I'd be spending like a couple hours finding recipes. Where are they online? What ingredients do I need to buy? Setting up my shopping list. And it cut that down to like 30 minutes. And so if you have, that gives you an extra hour and a half every couple of months, that could be a big deal. Plus, when we're busy with our business, we don't want to, I know for me, I hate trying to stop and figure out, well, what am I going to eat for dinner? What are we going to, I don't have that ingredient. This just makes that so simple and easy. And you always know what you have available to make or what you need to buy at the store. So you're out running errands and you just, I'm just going to check Trello because I'm here. What else do I need? And you have that all there, and it's all set up for you and ready to plug in and customize and get you going. Each of those templates will come with a short video tutorial on just kind of the specifics of how that particular workflow works. And so, within a couple of within like an hour, you should be able to be up and running and on your way to producing each of those, working those workflows. And then as a bonus, I'm offering a 60-minute consultation with me. So that is, we're going to talk about how you set up your Trello boards, if there's a different way that we should be doing it, or I can help you actually set it up and customize it. You can split up that 60 minutes if you wanted to do like 30 minutes brainstorming up front, and then jump into your Trello and you work it a little bit, and then 30 minutes at the end to kind of have me review it and look over it and offer suggestions of how maybe it could be more effective. We can use that 60 minutes however you like. But this is a really powerful package to really leverage the power that Trello has to offer in a way that you can get up and going really quickly. So I do have 5 to 10 spots available for this package. And so if you're interested, all you need to do is go to this website, this URL, appliedprosperity.com/Trello package. And there's just a little questionnaire on there that you fill out the form. And once you click submit, it will take you to my calendar, and we can schedule a quick phone call for us to get together and connect and just get everything set up. And this, I should probably mention the pricing. So usually I offer this package at $347, but as a special offer for this demonstration, I'm offering it at $197. So it's a great deal, a great way to get started and get back some of your time and your brain and your energy, and I can help you do that. So like I said, if you want to do that, go ahead and just go to appliedprosperity.com/Trello package and fill out the information, and we'll get started. And then if you have questions about anything that I've talked about today, feel free to shoot me an email. Here's my email address. I'd love to talk to you. Or if you have questions about anything else, I do offer 15-minute discovery calls. If you need something that's not related to Trello, you're welcome to send me an email, and we can set up a time for that too. But before we end, let me just quickly check and see if there are any questions or comments on our form at the bottom of this page. Okay. Oh yeah. Will this sync with my phone? Yep, it does. It's amazing. I should definitely go to Cannon Beach. That sounds great. Do you have to download the add-ons for phone and for desktop? That's a good idea, or a good question. I haven't done it on my phone before. I just usually work it on my desktop. I can look into that and get back to you. I'm not sure what's available on the phone. But yeah, I'll get back to you on that, Cindy. Okay, well, I don't see any other questions. So again, if other questions do come up, go ahead and send me an email and let me know, and I'd be happy to help you with any follow-up on that. But thank you so much for coming today, and I appreciate listening and being able to share this with you, and I hope that it will be a great opportunity for you to organize yourself and your business and see lots of productivity and organization come to you. So thanks so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.